Everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Women of Community Banking podcast. I've got a friend joining from Kansas today. It's a very illustrious career, which I'm very proud about, I was talking about earlier. Nicole with me. Hi, Nicole. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Friday afternoon. So you assume how am I doing? Almost ready to wrap up the week and move to the weekend. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. Nothing more than that. So quick introduction who Nicole is. Nicole is Chief Operations Officer of Credit Union of America. Uh, Again, one of those people with whom I would love to chat because she has a very non-typical way or journey in credit unions. Started from being a teller to becoming a COO within 16 years. People take 3 decades to become what she's become in 16 years. So, Nicole, firstly, on behalf of the entire family of Women of Community Banking podcast, we are really proud of
Thank
what
you.
you've achieved, and congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Pleasure. So, Nicole, what is the secret? Let's talk about your journey. What has been your journey so far from being a part-time teller, right, in 2010, and now you're a CEO? What has been your journey so far?
So I was a part-time teller for a couple of years while I was in college, and then I moved to lead teller for a couple of years, and then I moved to the back office operations realm in the payments area, and I mostly processed disputes. And I did that for about 3 years before I started overseeing that department. And I managed our payments department for about 5 years or so before moving into a larger role overseeing our contact center, our ITM tellers, and our deposit operations team. And then I also started our digital branch, digital services team out of that. And I've been in the COO role for about 2.5 years now. So started supervising people in 2016 and then became COO in 2023.
That's quite a fast movement, right? I mean, from that. And what's the secret, Nicole? What's the secret that actually made this happen?
I think being right place, right time. There were some opportunities obviously there, but also if I had to narrow it down, I would say accountability. I always thought I had control of my own destiny and my own career. And if I wanted something bad enough, I could make it happen. And so I always took responsibility for any situation I found myself in, and also looked at any challenge as an opportunity to show how I can provide leadership or growth within the credit union. And I feel like I was rewarded with different opportunities and promotions.
So, I think that's what happens with all of us. You remain focused to what you're doing right now. And eventually, if you are honest with what you're doing, you need to be honest with what you're doing. I think opportunities keep following us, right? It's about the intention. And sure, you had amazing intention that brought you here, right? So, again, talking about intentions now, obviously, you've held roles across the spectrum of operations. Talking about now, like in the front line, followed by disputes, payments, deposits. And at times, I think you also did member communication, right? That was a very different one. So or you just found the opportunities on the go?
I'd say a couple of opportunities were paved for me. I was a few years into my managing journey whenever I identified that I wanted to be COO one day. And so I told my boss, who ultimately told the current COO at that time, and so started working together. And so she paved the way to create some of those opportunities to expand my expertise and experience. I also think I was often thought of for opportunities because I took challenges as opportunities, like I mentioned earlier, and I have a little bit of a reputation of turning some departments around. Whenever I took over the call center, our wait times were around 40 minutes. And so it was a very large opportunity and I really couldn't lose, I guess is how I would put it. So there was only going up from where I started. And so a little bit of both. I created my own way, but also a path was carved for me.
So can I summarize you as one of the firefighters? Whenever there's a fire, you go and douse it. That's what you've done, right?
Yes,
pretty much.
So. Yeah, it's where I thrive.
Yeah, that. I think that's what takes to get things done. There's no right or wrong, but if you have that in yourself of going and making a change, that's what like the entire world wants, right? So yeah, that's amazing. Since you're a CEO, I'll ask you a very cookie cutter question. You'll be like, Anurag, you're asking me the question that everyone asks me. But still, I'll ask you about operational excellence because obviously with AI coming in, RPA was a thing, then came analytics, data science, and now AI, right? So since you're overseeing a complex organization, I mean, it's not a very small org. It's a yeah, enough large org. So what does operational excellence actually look like? What do you think about it?
There's a few different ways that I look at it. One
Mhm.
is progress over perfection, that we don't have time to just sit around and wait for rollouts to be perfect or
Sure.
technology to be perfect. We have to take incremental improvements as a win. And then I would say the other one is meeting the member where they're at. So whether they want to meet us digitally, over the phone, over chat, in person, how do we provide the best experience regardless of channel? And then also I think internally too, making sure we have the right team in place that is mission driven and constantly striving for better, more, and overall just providing the best service to our members.
Yeah, I think that's the cornerstone of everything because totally agree to what you said. That's how you define operational excellence because things have changed. The way how you do business has completely changed. Yes. Now I want to ask you about balance, Nicole. You've built. I mean, uh, you've been instrumental to set up the digital branches for your credit union for CUAs, as well as you have implemented a couple of AI services, and I'm sure that you are looking at more of them. So digital branch on one side, implementing AI services on the other. But still, as a community financial institution, credit union, we still have I would say, huge focus on branches because they're not going anywhere. By the way, there was a survey that actually resulted in Gen Zs are 4x more susceptible, or they not susceptible is the wrong word to use. I think Gen Zs are 4x more probable or highly likely to have a brand to bank with a brand to bank with a financial institution which has branches near them. I mean, I'm not a Gen Z, but I'm a zillennial, right? I mean, I'm end of I'm starting off millennial. I just missed the Gen Z bar, yeah, year or so. I feel the same. I love when I see a credit union branch. When I love when I see a City branch or Chase branch, whoever I bank with, right? I love to see them because I don't know. It's perception. I don't know, but it's psyche. I believe that we trust brands that we can see and has social impact on the community. My question is: you have digital branch and AI on one side, and you have got branches on the other side. What do you think? Again, obviously, you're not very, I mean, an old is very wrong word to use. You're not like, 30 years older to me. We're almost the same age. So what do you think? What is the right balance?
I I think that credit unions are uniquely positioned to do both because we are not for profit. And so we don't have the ultimate responsibility of returning profit to shareholders. We want to
Mhm.
do well so we can do good in the communities. But we just opened a branch last month and I don't think we're unique in that with other credit unions. We're looking at branches as an opportunity to for account acquisition and we are getting new accounts out of it, but digital
Mhm.
continues to be the number one driver of volume for us, whether that's checking accounts, new memberships, a loan volume. I mean, our digital branch does more volume than about the bottom half of our branches do combined. And we
Wow.
just feel like it's really important for us to provide that convenient service for those members if they want it. But then when things get a little too complicated, or for instance, estate planning or trust, that's when people
Mhm.
want to sit face to face with someone. And I think it's really important that we provide the and model, not the or. And I think that's ultimately what the cooperative credit union industry is set out to do. And we're really proud. Our average new member, active new member, so multiple products, is 35 years old. So
Wow.
we're consistently gaining younger members.
Interesting.
Our vision right now in new members is Gen Z. And so I feel like we're figuring it out and doing the best we can, but also still serving all members throughout whatever channel they're
Do you know,
preferred.
and do you know what is the average age of a member or a consumer? Uh, for a community FI, be it credit union or community bank, it's 53. So you guys are at least, I mean, 18 years before. So that's like very impressive. I mean, I think that's worth a separate podcast or conversation, that how do you do that? Because it's not easy. A lot of people are struggling to do that, that, right? So this strategy Would love to learn more about it maybe sometime else.
Yeah.
Interesting. Talking about mentors, right, Nicole? I mean, I attribute almost whatever I do to a couple of mentors. Without them, I wouldn't have, done whatever I'm doing now, right? Who are the mentors who have influenced you the most and whom you think has had a huge impact on your career? You can always talk about multiple of them because I have multiple. It's not necessary that you just talk about one.
Say my first supervisor, whenever I was managing people, I've actually worked with him my entire time in credit unions, but his name is Dan Emscheid, and he was the one that I told him I wanted to continue to grow, and he continued to push me and provide opportunities, taught me contracts and invoices, some of just the basics that I needed to continue to grow, but then also was a sponsor for me in rooms that I wasn't in. So I would give him a lot of credit. But I also just have multiple peers and others around the organization that I just take little nuggets from. There's someone in our organization, an employee experience. His name is Brian, and he is absolutely someone I go to whenever I'm having an off day or I just need additional perspective. And I think that that's been really instrumental, especially as in this role. But I also really encourage people to read and learn and never stop learning. I read so many leadership books, leadership research, really tried to hone in on who was successful in their field and what I could take from that. And I think that was really impactful and a big reason why I've continued to grow.
So do you think it's a combination of mentors plus your reading habits?
I would say so. And not just books, but LinkedIn is a great opportunity for, I think, to learn more so now than previously. But I would definitely say it was a combination of people around me, but also some of my own self-development outside of work hours.
I mean, everyone, we found her on LinkedIn, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest proof that how effective LinkedIn can be, both in connecting people as well as enriching your own knowledge. Absolutely interesting. So, I mean, I want to do a quick rapid fire, right? Maybe for the next couple of minutes. I know we are pressed on time. We've got meetings throughout. Same question, maybe, but still in a different way. Teller in 2010, right? And a COO now. What's the secret?
I would say grit. So just, you got to keep fighting, and there's going to be a bigger, better challenge ahead of you. So just keep going.
Wish I could have clapped, but this podcast doesn't really let me, clap. Wow, interesting. I mean, not interesting. I mean, that's a reality. I mean, unless you have grit, nothing's going to happen and nothing's going to come to your lap and, magically happen. World is tough, guys. It's not easy.
Yep.
AI and personal touch. Do you think you can have it, both of them together?
I think so. I think AI can empower and enable us to provide more personal touch. There's a lot of transactional or low value interactions that AI can empower our staff to have more personal touch for those higher value moments. We at CUA view community. So we are everywhere and anywhere in the community. And I think that that's our Bank of America isn't really pouring into our local community the way we are.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about any banks over here, but yeah, all the best to you. That's amazing. One last one. What did so many years in the field teach you that your MBA could not teach? A controversial question, but still.
Yeah, that's a good one. People. You can read about how to best facilitate or foster relationships, but until you just get in there and you work with people, and that's my whole job, is working with people, developing relationships, whether it's internal, external, vendors. That's what I spend most of my day on, is working on relationships.
That actually dovetails to another question which I did not think of, but now I'm thinking about it. There are two schools of thoughts, EQ and IQ. I personally believe EQ is way more important than IQ. Unless you have EQ, you cannot have anything done. So what do you think about, EQ and IQ? What do you cheer for?
EQ for sure. You have to have a level of, I think, IQ and overall capacity, but EQ is something that you can develop and you can improve on. An area that I really struggled with early on is I love to be right, and that is not very high EQ, and that doesn't get you very far. So again, it just goes back to the relationships, especially in credit unions. Credit unions are so relationship driven, internally, externally, members, vendors, etc. And I think it's key.
So, Nicole, firstly, thank you for spending your half an hour with us. Sorry to keep you waiting for lunch. I think you can now go for lunch. But again, everything aside, this was an amazing episode. We really liked it, and thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.